Joel Embiid left last night's game against the Cavaliers in the first quarter, was ruled out with a left shoulder sprain. Now, he's slated to undergo an MRI today, but Woj reports he is out tonight against the Knicks, and more evaluation on that left shoulder is ongoing. Let's look at last night's game, though. The Cavaliers beat the Sixers by 14 points. So, Zach, with Embiid playing just 8 minutes, Ben Simmons also out, are you worried about the Sixers?
I would be worried about literally any team in NBA history without its two best players.
Okay.
So, yes. Long term, I mean, we'll have to see how the injuries progress, but obviously, if either one of these guys is damaged going into the playoffs, they're in huge, huge trouble.
But I think it's before that, because, by the way, you guys have been talking about the depth of the Celtics. So, obviously, if the Celtics lost whoever their two best players at the time were, it wouldn't be good for Boston, but they could sustain that a little bit better.
Right.
For Philadelphia, they are such tentpoles of what they do. And with Philadelphia, the other story going on right now is, will they get home court in the playoffs? Yes. And what will their seeding be? This is one of the best teams in the NBA at home. It is one of the worst teams of any playoff team on the road.
Worst among all teams.
Right?
Yeah.
So
9 and 20, 9 and 21 now.
The difference between do you have to win a game on the road or not to get out of the first round, it seems ridiculous for a team that we talked about at one point with title aspirations, but it's very hard for them, Fizz, to even win a game on the road.
Yeah, and I think it's a lot of elements to the Sixers team. We were worried about the Sixers before the injuries, right? There was all of the other talk about Joel and Ben and can they get along. Now, I think with Embiid's injury history, you got to be concerned with that and hoping that Ben Simmons isn't as bad as it can be. And then the last thing I think is what you talked about, the home court advantage. This team is a half a game back from Miami right now. This is a bad time for them to sustain these kind of injuries if they're trying to get home court advantage.
Yeah, Miami, Philly, Indiana have now gotten very close together.
You got the standings.
Yeah, it's bunched up. It's all bunched up.
When you talk about 9 and 21, these are your roommates. The Knicks, the Warriors.
This is their road record.
The road
Clarify
record.
what you're talking about.
Like they have a road record that's similar to the Knicks, the Cavs, the Hawks.
The Knicks are 9 and 21 on the road,
like
exactly.
They are bad as it can be. So home court advantage is more important than probably than any other team in the conference. But I want to talk about something from last night. Embiid plays less than 8 minutes, right? My man Tobias Harris only got 13 shots. As not only a max player, but an offensive talent in this league, that is unacceptable. He only gets 12, 13 shots. Shake Milton shot more than he did. And that's not a knock on Shake. I'm glad that he got aggressive.
Is that on Tobias, or is that on scheming, or what is it?
Part of it is Tobias. I believe if you're a scorer like Tobias is, you don't need people to pump you up and turn you. Right. The lights should go on. Oh, Embiid's out? Give me the rock. I'm shooting 30 times tonight.
Because my team needs me, not because I want to, because my team needs me.
Well, and he wants to, too, because that's who he is, and he hasn't had that opportunity because of, Embiid and Simmons and the spacing and all that stuff. But then the other part of it also, I got to put something on Brett Brown. Once you see he's not being aggressive, you shouldn't have to tell him, but at some point you got to tell him. You got to communicate that to him.
See, that's why I love sitting up here with you guys. You just assume Coach didn't tell him. Coach may have told him to be aggressive, and he just didn't end up being aggressive. See, that's how coaches get shot down by you guys.
I said nothing.
He may have been in that huddle and drew up 3 or 4 plays for him and said, Tobias, you got to go now. You got to be aggressive. Sometimes it just doesn't click in, and I guarantee you if you go through that game and see how many times Tobias had the ball in his hands and could have been aggressive, I guarantee you he passed up on opportunity.
Dillon Brooks took 26 shots last night. Dillon Brooks. Good player.
Did they have to tell him to do it?
I don't know. I'm going to have to figure it out.
Trust me, I coached Dillon in Memphis.
Probably not.
I never had to tell Dillon to be aggressive,
That
ever.
is why Memphis wanted to hang on to that Brooks as opposed to
Marshawn? Oh, man. Marshawn.
I'm not the one who made that distinction. They did. There you go. I want to talk about the other side of that, though, because the Cavs are 3-1 since JB Bickerstaff took over head coaching duties for John Beilein, who resigned last week. So, Fizz, look, JB was their 4th coach in a year and a half. That is an insane level of instability for that organization. But, well, for anyone, but even for them, is what I was going to say. But JB, look, 3-1 for his first 4 games, and he's someone who's experienced, taken over in midseason. He's done it before. Do you think that this is just a honeymoon phase of a new coach, or that this is something that speaks to him in the way he's leading this team?
One, it speaks to him in the way he's leading the team. I mean, you never want to see a coach get fired, obviously, with Coach Beilein, but
He
JB...
didn't get fired. He left himself.
Well, however you want to call it. Well, whatever you want to say, but... JB's been through this, obviously, after
Yes.
coaching with me in Memphis and in Houston as well. JB understands how to take over a team mid-drift, and I think this young team fits his personality. The one team they lost to was a good Miami team. I don't know if they can play at a 3-1 level throughout the rest of the year because they are a young team, but I do think they'll play consistently hard and be organized and prepared for every night.
I know they cannot play at a 3-1 level the rest of the year, but look, they're doing fine.
rooting for my man.
And by the
Here's
way,
the other thing they can't do: put yet another coach in. So this is what you got.
I don't have 4 of like anything really in,
In a
in
year and a
18
half.
months span. Credit JB though, because he ran out the triple big Kevin Love, Larry Nance Jr., Tristan Thompson lineup the other day against Miami, which is like against every direction the NBA is going in. And it worked, and he did it again last night, and it worked again. Sometimes you just got to ride what's hot. Good for him.
There you go. And by the way, they gave him the coaching title, not the interim tag.
coach,
So
yeah.
this is a little different than the other 3 jobs that we put up there
I know we
before.
already did jump recommends. I'm going to give you 2 more recommendations. 1, JB Bickerstaff interview with Mark Spears on Undefeated. 2, Vinny Goodwill about black coaches in the NBA
Yes, is
on
excellent.
Yahoo Sports. Read both of those. That'll explain a lot.
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports analysis and highlights, download the ESPN app. And for live streaming and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.